up, good people? We are here for a really exciting conversation. We've got Oliver Van Lanschot, who is the brand director for Alpina, and he's here to talk to us about Alpina, which has an incredible legacy, a really exciting story, and a fantastic line of watches and exciting novelties that they're debuting here at Watches and Wonders in 2023. Oliver, thank you so much for joining Complecto. We are excited to be able to have this conversation with you.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me and organizing this. And Watches and Wonders, exciting time, great moment for the brand. So happy to join all of you and to speak about the wonderful Alpina brand.
Before we dive into the novelties, which are super exciting, I actually would like to start by talking a little bit about Alpina's history.
Yeah.
Alpina's a pretty old brand with a pretty rich legacy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, indeed, because we're celebrating our 140th anniversary.
Wow.
So indeed, it's a history which is extremely rich. We're extremely proud of it. I'm very proud to be able, to be part of it or continue it for some time. Maybe I can introduce you to the history, speak a little bit about
Please.
it. So Alpina was actually founded as a watchmakers union by somebody called Gottlieb Hauser in 1883. And he brought together around the table different actors of the watchmaking industry at the time. So he really had components, developers, suppliers, but even retailers, designers, dial manufacturers to come together as a group and to be stronger as a group. The mission and the intention of the brand, other than being stronger together, was also strongly influenced by the Alpine environment. The founders were Alpinists, and they actually came up in 1938, with the first sports watch as we know it today.
The very first sports watch, which is fascinating. Now there are four properties, that make a sports watch a sports watch.
Yeah.
Tell us about those.
So indeed, at the time, many brands, were focusing on complications like measuring speed, of course, aviation, but even cycling and first motorsports, for example, or calendars, chimes, and so on. But nobody had really thought about the resistance of the watch. The founders were Alpinists, so they really felt the need, to have a resistant watch. So the four properties, as you say, was to create a watch that was anti-shock, water resistant, anti-magnetic, and made out of stainless steel. So of course today, it's a standard, but at the time it was a real innovation. They really came and defined the sports watch as we know it today.
Yeah, I mean, even dress watches have those properties now, many of
Correct.
them, right? And so to your point, we do take it for granted. And when we went on the manufacturer tour earlier this week, we actually got to see this watch.
Yeah.
And it's it's actually really interesting when you look at the aesthetic of the watch. By today's standards, it kind of looks like a dress watch.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
But that was what was considered
a sports watch at that at the time.
At that point in time, which is fascinating.
Yeah.
So you've got this rich history, right? Adventure, exploration, innovation. How are those values of the brand continuing to inform what you're building and making today?
Yeah. So of course we're still in the sports segment. We really want to create strong and sturdy watches, that are actually built, to resist to this environment, keeping the origins in the brand really in there, but also inspiring watches. So of course we continue to work around it. With different, partners which inspire to the great outdoors, as you say, the exploration, the mountain environment, but that also have a certain refinement, a certain sophistication that you can really find in our watches and the collection today.
And these pieces are phenomenal, beautiful, I think very distinct from a lot of what potential buyers might consider, right, in this category.
Correct.
And there's a lot of competition in this category, right? And so what, from your perspective, really distinguishes Alpina and your collections from what buyers might be considering as they think about, a watch a sports watch of this mold?
Yeah. So it's a very good question. Actually, I think the Extreme collection that you see here really symbolizes our strategy. The price positioning, you can really see the overall prices in the industry are going up. So you can see some,
they only go up.
They only go up. But you can see some direct competitors, let's say on the higher side, really going up quite quickly.
Yeah.
On the lower end as well, going up, but not necessarily giving value. So we have really a sweet spot, and which we don't have that much competition in, actually, between $1,500 and $2,500 or $3,000, with, let's say, strong differentiation and strong finishing, let's say. So we really try to give value, and I think this really symbolizes it. And I think at equivalent price, if you look at the environment out there, there's not much to compete with. So I think we have something really unique there.
Along those lines, one of the pieces that stands out most to me in terms of differentiation and really not a ton of competitors in this space, right, is this regulator.
Yeah.
I've never seen a regulator style kind of extreme robust sports watch like this. What was the inspiration of this watch? You're saying, hey, let's put a regulator in something that's built like a tank.
Yeah, correct. So indeed, originally the Extreme, we launched it as the Avalanche Extreme back in 2005. So we've got actually history behind the case design at the time. It was a much bigger watch. That was a 48 millimeter watch. So really at the time, it was a trend, to wear.
Oh, everyone loved the big watches back then. Yeah.
So the case was completely redesigned to 41 by 42 and a half, so much more wearable. And at the time, the iconic piece was a regulator. So we really brought that complication in originally, let's say, as really a special development. There was not much that was available at the time in terms of a regulator, but it became the iconic and recognizable piece. The reason for which we really brought it back today. I think honestly, in terms of dial design, in terms of the organization of the subdials and the decentered hour and second hand looks fantastic. It's actually my favorite.
This is my favorite in the collection. And this is an impressive collection, but this is by far my favorite in the collection. I think the integrated bracelet, the contrast on the dial between the gray subdials and that blue is just beautiful.
I agree with you.
Yeah, this is unlike anything I've seen in the market, and I think at this particular price point, this is a very strong value proposition.
Yeah.
Who do you see as kind of like the ideal or prototypical, if I can even say that, customer for Alpina? Who do you find most drawn and attracted to your collections?
Yeah, so it's obviously women, men who are working ideally. There's no ideal, of course, but if you can look, it's probably somebody who aspires to the outdoors, who has a love for watches, of course, who has a love to wear something that has history behind it, but also inspiration. So of course, I'd like to think that when you look at an Alpina watch, it makes you think about the outdoors, even if you're working in a more, let's say, urban environment. Yeah. Or let's say more closed environment, that you can look at your watch already that you're proud of wearing something beautiful with history, that makes you think about the outdoors, think about the Alps or the mountains where we were born in actually.
Yeah, I mean most of us are not alpinists or working in extreme outdoor conditions on a day-to-day basis, but it is exciting, right? And that's I think what makes the hobby of collecting watches and enjoying them so much fun, is because it enables us to imagine, right? Yeah. A world where maybe our day-to-day is a little bit more adventurous, right? Or it can inspire us to pursue.
Correct. I think most of us, we're working, in environments, that are a bit far away, indeed, from the great outdoors and from the mountains. So.
Yeah. No, it's exciting, and the watches, when you put them on, you can feel that. There's a dynamism, I think, inherent to the design that really conveys, I think, the brand values. I want to pivot a little bit. We were just talking about the kind of customers or folks that you think your watches are appealing to. With Complecto, we're very much focused on creating more opportunities and more access for people from all walks of life to be able to discover watches, discover this hobby, lower the barrier to entry, make access to education and information easier. And over the last few years, this idea of community, right, within the watch collecting world is something that I think has gained a lot more traction, right? Brands are really starting to lean into collecting groups, right, communities of enthusiasts. Curious to know how Alpina thinks about the collecting community, and if you view opportunities to kind of continue to lean in and maybe more deeply engage the collecting and enthusiast community with your brand.
Yeah. Well, I think it's essential. I think it's a huge opportunity, and it's, as you said, more accessible.
Yeah.
Today as well. To be able to learn, to be able to discover. I'm a huge fan of this. Every opportunity I have, I also try to share the passion first of all, but then also what we're all about. So. You see more and more of this, and I can only encourage it, and I'm here, to also support and try to feed,
yeah.
What we're doing, and what the brand is all about, and then show the beautiful products. Of
yeah.
course.
Absolutely, and this is a fantastic opportunity to be able to share with our community,
yeah.
because
and thank you for doing it. It's thanks to you actually, that we manage, to
yeah.
also communicate and then and share our story.
Yeah, and it's important because nobody needs a watch.
Yeah.
Right. Anyone who buys a watch, who wears a watch, irrespective of the price point, you buy that watch or you wear it because it makes you feel
yeah.
something,
yeah.
right? And any watch, whether it's a $10 watch or a $10,000 watch, in my opinion, is a luxury item because by definition, we don't need it, right? We all have phones that tell us the time
Correct.
and keep us on schedule. So I think it's so important to be able to tell the story of brands like Alpina because that is what makes it compelling, right? I think when we can find something to attach to emotionally. What does the future hold for Alpina?
So the future is bright.
Yeah.
First of all, I think we can feel it here in the show today. There's a lot of excitement around the brand. 140 years, so we have this legacy behind that. But then we have the future is there to be written. I think that today, with what we're showing, I think we have a really beautiful and very coherent collection. It brings our DNA in there. The Extreme is really the focus, and we try to, it symbolizes our strategy. So you can expect, in terms of product, further development. We've got a 3 to 5 year roadmap of further developments, different case sizes, ladies' watches to come in that design as well, across the different universes. And we just, working hard, to be able to bring nice products, beautiful products that will suit, the wrists around the world beautifully, So I think we're definitely have a great plan ahead.
Exciting, and I'm excited to follow the journey. Oliver, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you and Complecto for inviting me.